Well, hey, folks, it's your old pal, King Krampus. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. Be sure to hit like and the subscribe button. Hell, even hit that bell. I don't care. Do what you want to do. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit, because it's Halloween weekend, of course, talk a little bit about Werewolf the Apocalypse and what I consider to be the top 5 classic werewolf tribes. I'm also going to mention which one's my favorite, although I don't put my favorite on the top 5. Considering the volume of tribes, I'm not going to run down through all the ones that I'm not putting on this list like I did with my Camarilla Vampire Clans video the other night. I'm just going to jump right into it and say that right off the bat, number 5, I'm going to say it's the Red Talons. The all-wolf werewolf tribe, easily misunderstood, and I'm going to put them on there just because there's a compelling aspect to their outlook, and they're quite a nice challenge for players to pull off properly. It takes a certain kind of, personality type and mentality to really, sink into that kind of role and pull it off without just being snarling version of, a zany character, so. Next, I'm going to say the Shadow Lords. They are, the second-tier leadership clan. They're not, quite the same, position of power and authority that the Silverfangs are. And that's kind of why I like them. They have more motivation because they're hungrier for power because they don't have it. Silverfangs are kind of have everything handed to them on a silver platter. I also like that the Shadow Lords have that Transylvanian, Eastern European, Carpathian kind of connection going on and aren't just like Siberian werewolves like the Silverfangs are. Also, they're one of the more effective tribes at being in an urban environment that's not an urban-specific tribe, like the Glasswalkers, which are, I'm going to say, are my number 3 top 5 tribe. Just in terms of the fact that if you're trying to run a werewolf game where you're actually bringing in aspects of other White Wolf games, or you're trying to pull off the mythical, let everyone play whatever they want from any of the games, collage kind of approach to the World of Darkness, the Glasswalkers are, of the werewolf tribes, among the most compatible in terms of being able to interact with the other kinds of supernatural denizens, in large part because they're urban, but also because they just kind of have a better overall grasp on human society and that kind of thing. Opposite to them in many ways is my number 2 tribe, which is going to be the Stargazers. They're one of the rarer tribes, the lore's always had them down at there's less than 50 of them on the planet kind of thing. They're your northern India, Tibet type werewolves. They're also your martial arts werewolves. The thing I liked about them, though, is their whole focus on mastering themselves and not so much rejecting their werewolfism, but just maintaining conscious control of it and not letting the beast get a hold of them, kind of a thing. And then I'm going to say the number 1 of the top 5 werewolf tribes, of all things, is the Bone Gnars. Nowadays, just from the modern context of here at the end of 2021, more people should, consider that it might be good for them psychologically as a learning experience just to put themselves in the shoes of homeless people. Bone Gnars being the homeless tribe, both have a good, familiarity with urban environments like your Glasswalkers, but they do better at kind of escaping notice. Authorities, regular people just don't really pay attention to them in the way they would a guy running around in a suit covered in blood and that kind of stuff. But also, they're not urban exclusive. There's certainly long traditions of hobos and hitchhikers and other kinds of, drifting nomadic homeless types that the Bone Gnars slip into easily. And I feel that kind of gives them a low-key versatility that not a lot of other werewolf tribes give you. And I guess, so what's my personal favorite tribe that I'm not including on this list? Well, I'm going to say it's the Black Spiral Dancers, of course. As a Scottish descended person, I have to, give some props to the proper Scottish tribe, not the Fianna. Fuck the Fianna, those Irish bastards. We're talking real descendants from Picts when we're talking about the Black Spiral Dancers. And, yeah, they're villainous, but, there's a lot more storytelling to be mined out of those kinds of characters in their own way, if you were, you know, were lucky enough to have a campaign where it's possible to try to play a Black Spiral Dancer, maybe one trying to be reformed, or, you know, a Black Spiral Cub that hasn't been, you know, indoctrinated into the tribe yet, and so, you know, the classic story of, you know, like the last White Howler kind of a thing going on. But yeah, you know, Vampire gets so much of the attention over Werewolf, but in many ways, I feel like Vampire doesn't really give you as much range of story that a Werewolf, the Apocalypse campaign, can give you. There's a lot of different kinds of adventures and themes and styles that a Werewolf could give you. Vampire kind of has like it's a little limited kind of, you know, number of things it does well, and it does do them very well. You know, I'm not knocking, you know, I've certainly played the shit out of Vampire back in the day, but Werewolf is always more my favorite because, you know, you can or cannot decide to lean into all that Captain Planet-y anti-Pentex fighting the worm stuff. You can't have the intertribal politics, you know, all the stuff with the spirit world. Lends to like all sorts of like big epic kind of quest kind of adventures, and takes it almost more into like a fantasy realm. The existential horror, there's just I feel like there's so many more different ways you can express your creativity as a writer or as a player, doing Werewolf the Apocalypse over the Vampire the Masquerade. So yeah, I guess that's it. If you're into these sorts of things, and also like the design philosophy of OSR games, I do have something I created, which is basically I try to make an OSR version of White Wolf rules that never existed back in the day. They are not identical to the White Wolf rules, but they're very much inspired by and kind of key off some of the similar things. Although there's also stuff I've brought into them that I've been getting good feedback on so far. So, you know, I got Ghost of the Shadow Zone here. It's set in the 1970s. It's like your occult horror game that's kind of like a Mage Light, and also a little bit of me trying to like make a version of Wraith that's actually playable. And I got another one that just came out on drive-thru on Amazon called Dracula's Carpathian Christmas, in which there are rules for my version of vampires and werewolves for, you know, like my, I guess what I'm calling the total party timeline, since all my games kind of are arranged in the same universe, but they're not contemporary to each other. They're all spread out across thousands of years and like different points of the timeline. You get just a completely different genre, and they're pulled apart from each other enough that you can have very different tones and feels, because they don't step on each other's toes at all, because they're not right next to each other. So, you know, it's Halloween. Just happens to be my first wedding anniversary this weekend, so if you know, you'd like to help old King Krampus out pressing Mrs. Claus, you can get me a nice anniversary present by following a link down below and buying one of my books. And other manipulative, emotional things like that. Leave a comment, hit like and subscribe, share this video, tell everyone about the wonder and glory that is King Krampus and Total Party Skills, and be sure to stay waspinated at all times. Like, seriously, like waspination is serious business, and you don't want to be like caught flat-footed without it.